one of the people who is not on board for the Sotomayor fan club is Pat Buchanan, to say the least. Buchanan's going to go on MSNBC, as he usually does, and call Sotomayor a militant Latina. Let's hear him out on this. This is clip number 5. Let's hear his justification why she's so militant, this judge of 17 years.
But this is what they're doing. They said, look, you cannot come off the way you've been painted in the New York Times and elsewhere as a militant Latina who believes in ethnic advancement and our group and who's very liberal and who believes the courts are where the power is.
In other words, don't admit why you picked.
Exactly. You got to come off. You got to come off as a very boring, very boring Mr. Alito.
Okay, what did your party, what did your erstwhile party, what did the Republicans accomplish? Did they simply remind their voters who are losing memory about this what the party believes in? Is that what they're pushing?
What the objective, this is about Obama. The objective is to paint her as she really is, truthfully, is just what I said, a militant, liberal, Latina.
Militant.
Militant. Sure,
where's the militant? What does it mean? I didn't see that anywhere in the record.
We didn't see that in what she said, but here's someone who
give me
said,
the militants.
Okay, New York State has to give the voting rights to convicted felons in prisons because otherwise there's a disparate impact because so many Hispanics and African Americans are in prisons. That is wild stuff, Chris. No Republican, no conservative could have done something on the other side and gotten away with that. And they told her, look, whenever you go up there, don't
Aren't a lot of states getting rid of that felons can't vote?
Judges can't do that.
Oh, okay.
The word militant is a ridiculous word to use for Sonia Sotomayor. There's nothing in her life that she's ever done that's remotely militant. Remember the 60s? Militant? There used to be militant.
You make her sound like she's up front at Acorn. You know, she's out there.
Hold on. This is a woman who has operated within the system for her entire life, studying by candlelight so she can pass the. I mean, it's you know. Going to Princeton, perfecting her English. This is the most conventional kind of American.
Did she grow up in the Bronx? Why does she have to perfect her English? I don't even like that. You know, even the liberals on these channels drive me crazy. And Matthew's like, oh, militant. What is she, an acorn? Acorn's not militant. You know what militant means? It means you grab a rifle. Okay? These people are not militant. Look at the one case that Buchanan cited, prisoner voting rights. Half the states disagree on that issue. Should felons have voting rights or not? And he said, oh, judge can't do that. She's militant. Oh, really? Did she enforce that with an AK-47? No, of course judges can decide that. It's a question of whether they have voting rights. Rights are issues that the judges and courts decide only all of the time. So... But why? Because he doesn't like the fact that she's a Latina. And since it's so ironic because he says, oh, all she cares about is advancing her own ethnicity. Projection much, Pat Buchanan? And then, of course, the lie in the beginning, you know, the New York Times has cast her as this militant Latina. Really? When? Please. Okay. So, now, if that wasn't bad enough, well, Buchanan wants to make it a little bit clearer, so he's going to explain how she's the product of affirmative action despite all of her successes. None of them count. Let's watch.
What's your beef
Story you've ever
My beef
heard?
with her is this. One of the beefs I got with her, here she is coming out of school. She gets a big scholarship to Princeton, gets rolled in there.
What do you mean gets rolled in there?
Gets rolled in there.
Wait a minute, what, Pat, I gotta get, you're a very articulate fellow. What is rolled in there mean?
She's affirmative action. She's brought ahead of a lot of kids that grew up like
you know what a grade point average was in high school?
I don't care what it is.
Well, that's right, you don't care what it is. The relevant point is how good
let me speak. She said, I'm an affirmative action baby all the way.
We'll be right back with Pat Buchanan and Eugene and more. That's back in a moment.
Total. It's her word.
What makes you think, Pat, that this woman is unqualified? Unqualified to get into Princeton, unqualified to serve on the court. You're going through the whole situation here.
She said herself that she was an affirmative action baby her whole life, that she didn't get the grades her classmates did. Her
she didn't say that.
Okay.
Yeah, and she also said, look, in college I had to read classic children's books in order to learn English a little better. She's been advanced her whole career. She got on the Yale Law Review. Where are her LSAT scores? Where are her SAT scores getting into high school and college? Where has she written something in the law review that's really, where's an opinion of her we've seen that's really brilliant? You might disagree with it. None of that is there.
But you've fucked up Sarah Palin for president.
Well, I've talked up, Sarah Palin is accomplished on her own right. No affirmative action there, boy. And she didn't get any of the Kim Bob treatment.
Listen,
judges got
Pat, that is just a total misreading and misunderstanding of what affirmative action is. I realize you use it as a pejorative. I think it's a great thing because it's opening the door for people who are qualified. No, I'm not Frank Ricky. I'm Gene Robinson. I'm an affirmative action baby. Guess what? Doors were open for me.
Right.
Now, I had very good SAT. And I also took the LSAT, and I did very well, too.
Okay, fine. What I'm saying is when you advance somebody ahead of somebody gets held back because...
But a moment ago, Pat, I said her high school scores were through the roof, and you said they're irrelevant what her high school grades were. How can you say something like that?
Nowadays, they are. I mean, half these kids get straight A's all the way through. It's a joke.
Well, all the more reason to open the door to people who are qualified. People who graduate
qualified other than by tests.
People who graduate summa cum laude from Princeton and make the law review are qualified.
Oh,
Pat, come on. This is not true.
That lady up there, is a Scalia? Come on.
Okay, well, thank you, Pat. Thank you, Gene Robinson.
Why is she not a Scalia? What is she the most experienced person to be nominated in 100 years? 17 years on the federal bench. How many good grades does she have to get? How many good scores does she have to get before Pat, racist Buchanan, would allow that she's actually earned something? He says, well, I don't care how good her grades were in high school. I don't care how good her grades were in Princeton. Oh, when a white guy earns those grades, well, he earned it, and that's a place he earned, and I can't believe somebody's going to take his place through affirmative action. When a minority earns those grades, well, everybody gets good grades anyway these days. Everybody's summa cum laude. Really? Were you summa cum laude, Pat? Oh, no, you weren't, were you? Oh, but these days everybody gets straight A's. Oh, that's interesting. Did Sotomayor graduate recently from law school or from Princeton or from high school? Oh, no, that was 30 or 40 years ago that she graduated. Huh. That's interesting. So she got those great grades these days? Now, wait a minute. That doesn't make much sense, does it? But Pat Buchanan doesn't care to make sense. Look, sometimes you forget how racist Pat Buchanan is. Like, he came out, and during the Bush years, he was one of the conservatives that stood up to Bush from time to time, didn't like the Iraq War, made some sense. And you lose track that Pat Buchanan's whole career is built on racism. And he doesn't really hide it very much. Last editorial he wrote, he talked about how the Republican Party should concentrate only on whites and that the Hispanic vote doesn't matter at all, and they should just try to get a few extra percentage of the white vote because whites are the way to keep power in America. And, look at all the things that he says here. He says, oh, yeah, look at this. Yeah, she had to read more books to get her English to be better. Didn't we all? Isn't that how we get our English to be better? We read books. Now, if Alito or Scalia had done that, they'd be like, look at that. Scholars. They read and they know, not like these minorities. In this clip, Buchanan's racism was screaming from the screen. He could hardly contain it. They asked him over and over, and there was not a single thing she could have done for Pat Buchanan to say she earned it. Why? Because she's a Latina. If she was a white male with the same exact qualifications, he would say she is perfectly qualified, and how dare you make this thing about race? Am I right or wrong? If minorities bring up the race issue, Pat Buchanan goes crazy. Oh, yeah, they're always complaining about race. No, Pat, you're always complaining about race. And when anyone else earns their position, you can't stand it. And he literally cannot get himself to believe it. He thinks, no, it's not possible for a minority to be as good as a white male, no matter what she did.